Hi again, everybody, and welcome to a special Sunday edition of Newsmakers TV. I'm Jerry Roberts. It is Sunday, November 16th, only 352 days until the 2026 election. And who better to talk to on such a date than City Council member Kristen Sneddon, who joins us for her home. Kristen, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Very excited to be here, Jerry. Thank you.
And I am informed and believe that you on Friday filed your intention to run for mayor. That'll become a public document on the city website on Monday. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I'm
Ah,
here to talk to you about it first.
well, congratulations, I guess. And thank you. Thank you very much for talking with us first about it. Why do you want to be mayor?
Well, Jerry, I love this community. I love Santa Barbara. I graduated from high school here. I've been a teacher, volunteer, council member in the community, and I'm optimistic about our future, but there's an urgency, and I think we're stuck. And I feel like we need leadership that will move us towards progress and not stagnation. And I've been asked by members of the community to run, members that I respect deeply, and from a broad sector of the community. And I'm ready for the challenge, and I'm ready to lead for Santa Barbara to move us forward.
So let's talk a little bit about you say we're stuck, and there you have a greater sense of urgency. Is that because of the current mayor?
I believe that current leadership, yeah, is leading to stagnation. We have a lot of things that the community wants to see move forward, that council members want to see move forward, and it's really difficult when leadership is working against the collective and not working towards collaboration. And we really need to be listening to the community and listening to each other, and then acting and moving forward.
Well, you got on council in 2017, as I recall. You won your first election, and this will be the first time that you've run citywide. The
Yeah.
mayor, of course, is the only citywide elected official. Do you think that the what you describe as the sensibilities and the politics of Mayor Rouse is because he is hearing from the whole city, and maybe that's different from just hearing from the constituents from one district.
Mhm. It's an interesting question, and when we represent districts, we have to be really in tune with our constituents in our districts. But throughout the 8 years on council, we serve the whole community. And so if there are issues on the east side, the west side, downtown, I'm hearing about those and I'm meeting with community members. And over 60% of our city are renters, and we need to be listening to those members of our community as well. We have a very diverse community. We have a lot of um, community members who are immigrants, and we have community members who are long time um, not feeling that they're being heard in the broader sense. So I do feel that the whole community needs to be listened to and then acted for.
Yeah. So how would the city be different? How would council and city hall be different, more specifically with you as mayor than it is with the incumbent?
Well, I think one of the big things that would be different is listening to the community and then acting. And right now, we have many initiatives that are meant to move forward. And, one example is, we talk a lot about State Street, and there's this impression that there's indecision on State Street, but there isn't. The majority of council and the community has been really clear about what we want to see move forward. But when leadership at the top is working against that, then things don't move, things don't happen. And I'll give you one example of that. We have a grant, it's funded to put large trees down the middle of one block for a pilot, just to see, would that calm the bikes down? Would that create a shade canopy? You could have benches, and something like that that's been approved for a long time can't happen because leadership at the top is sort of constantly saying, well, a decision isn't made. We might rip it up at any moment. We might go in a different direction. And we can't have that. It causes stagnation when we have a majority wanting to see something move forward and then leadership not listening and coming to collaboration and meeting in the middle, even anything to move something forward.
Well, we are waiting for the State Street Master Plan, and I think you properly get credit for that, beginning that process, if not extending it for 25 years.
Never my intention for it to last this long.
But I mean, doesn't it make sense to wait until that's done? You got like $1 million into consultants now, practically.
Oh, definitely. I don't want to make any major decisions until that plan is released to the public. I mean, we haven't seen the plan as council members, and there was so much public engagement, so many public meetings, and then it stagnated, and then it went dormant. And part of that reason is because this confusing messaging. Do we want to move forward? Do we don't want to move forward? Do we want to see it, or do we want to just cancel it? And yes, the public deserves to see the plan, to be able to decide on the plan, to have input. Yes, we need to see the plan, and it's coming the first quarter of 2026, and I'm excited to see what we can move forward. But in the meantime, in the last 5 years, it has stagnated. Nothing has um, move forward as pilots, as things that we could really see and enjoy in the time being.
Well, at the risk of oversimplifying, I mean, I think what's held it up, I mean, you closed 9 blocks during COVID, and then there's been this fight about whether to open some, all, or one way or the other way to vehicular traffic. Is that what you reference when you say we're stuck?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, majority of council has been clear, and the
So
community
you
has
would
been
you would
clear.
just leave all 9 blocks closed to traffic?
I would try different things. I would try one block that's dismount bicycles and have pedestrian only, and some benches in the middle of the street and some trees, and let's see if children can enjoy chalk drawing and not being worried about being run over by speeding bicycles. I would try another block that had art and painting on the sidewalks, and seeing what that does to bring people down. I would have many more pilots happening, and that was the intention, was that in this interim time we could be trying things, we could be seeing what works. And I'm very grateful for our new city administrator, Kelly McAdoo, because she's a doer, and so some of these ideas have now finally gotten to move forward, the electric shuttles and different things. And the pedlets aren't permanent, but it's informative of what might work, or what might inform the master plan. So, it's not okay to just say no to everything without putting forward an alternate plan, or without working with your council colleagues in the community to see what could move forward.
All right, we got 12 months to talk about State
Yeah,
Street, so
I know.
I don't want to get too hung up on that. But I was thinking this morning before we spoke back to 2017 when you first ran, and you said at the time, you're not the kind of person who ever thought you'd run for elective office, but then you had participated in, I think, Scientists
March for Science.
March for Science, right, when Trump was first elected.
Mhm.
Now he's back. I'm wondering to what extent, from where you sit at City Hall, uh, is his policies and his politics and his way of being framing and affecting local politics today.
Very much so. I mean, it's very much a reason why I feel added urgency, uh, the way that our community is under attack. And it's heartbreaking, and the loss of funding for programs that support our community, our whole community. We're really, as Californians, we're under attack, and science is under attack, and major things like, you know, our dredging of our harbor, something like that we all take for granted, that we have a working harbor. Well, we've lost the NOAA funding and the funding to keep that dredged and open. So now we're scrambling to figure that out. Or even forecasting weather systems coming through is at risk. And then you have immigration raids, you have members of our community who are being targeted. All of that adds to my feelings of urgency, that our community, it needs to be front and center, and that's where we need to be leading from. And that's what I hope to bring. But the current administration did bring it right back around. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mayor Rouse has rather famously said, he doesn't want to bring national or state politics into what he thinks is very local and should remain local. It sounds to me like you have a different take on that. That you'd think it is very much part of what City Hall ought to be doing and be cognizant of.
Well, I mean, it's not a choice that we're being attacked. So it's been brought to us, these issues. I mean, if we were left alone and able to go about our business, and community members weren't afraid of leaving their homes or losing their benefits, and food benefits, and health benefits, then it wouldn't be such an imperative that we're taking action on that front. But it's come to our door.
Yeah. Another thing, I think back to that first race you ran, the Democratic Party tried to force you out.
Oh,
They had endorsed someone, way early, which is their prerogative. And then you decided to run, and they didn't want you in the race. And now I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you would be probably very competitive for the endorsement of the Democratic Party. How
I
how
hope
how
so.
has that relationship evolved, would you say?
Um, it's we have a great relationship at this point too, and to their credit, they've seen where votes split, and splitting votes leads to um, leadership that might not be preferred. And so, right after, in 2018, right after I was elected, they reached out, we met together, and they've been very supportive, but also non-directive. So there's been no time when the Democratic Party has come forward and said, you must, vote for this or that, or stand for this or that. And I think the current leadership in our local Democratic Party is very supportive of that type of leadership, of electing people who you believe in, who share the common values, and then letting them lead. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons Randy was elected was because his predecessor had such difficulty sort of managing the interpersonal relationships and interpolitical relationships
Mhm.
among and between council members. Now, he was on the show Friday and was kind of decrying the number of 4-3 votes there are on
Yeah,
council. And he mentioned specifically the budget and
yeah.
said he felt like, that was just a really bad commentary on, the city. Is the city that divided? Are we a 4-3 city?
We often are a 4-3 city, and then we have to ask, why is that so? The three or the four are not really consulted, talked to, collaborated with. So, a mayor's job is to listen and to bring about collaboration, to try and bring about consensus. It's really not enough to wait until the end of a meeting and to just say, no, I disagree, and vote no. You really need to be doing the work up front, meeting with the community, meeting with council members. It's really important. It shouldn't be that a mayor is voting no on their own budget. That shouldn't happen. And there are opportunities all the way leading up to that moment to be working on it together, to be collaborating. looking up and down the line on the dais and saying, well, what could you live with? And what could you live with? And I'm hearing there might be consensus on this particular item. Can we move forward with that? It's not happening in that way, and it shouldn't be. I'm not saying that there should never be 4-3 votes, but for it to be so consistent is not serving the city.
One issue on which I dare say we're not going to get beyond a 4-3 vote is rent control or rent caps or whatever euphemism anybody
Rent
likes to put it.
stabilization,
Oh,
Jerry.
yes, rent stabilization. Yeah, right. That's going to be a 4-3 vote. That's going to happen, right? You referenced that 60%, I think, of the city is are tenants, are
Over
renters,
60%. Yeah.
over 60%. So it sounds like this is shaping up to be a race between tenants and property owners. Is that correct?
I hope not. I'm meeting with a lot of property owners. I have met with a lot of property owners. Just yesterday, I met with a developer of small properties and also a community member who owns multiple duplexes. And the question is, how could this work for you? And how do we protect the small local operators? And I don't believe that any side is villains, and I don't believe there are sides. I think it's community fabric that needs to work together. So I hope it's not an issue of renters versus property owners and or workers versus business owners. We're a small community and we care for each other, and it doesn't need to be like that. It doesn't need to be pitting sides against each other.
Except it is. I mean, that's a bright red line for the property owners, apartment owners, real
Not
estate.
all. There are a lot of property owners who support this.
Who,
It
who,
really
who
isn't
support
all.
rent control? There's
Yeah.
property owners who
who-
support rent
Yep.
control. Yeah.
Rent stabilization. It's different. It is different. It's vacancy decontrol. So say you have a duplex and you start off at market rate, whatever it is that you need to be able to take care of your maintenance, take care of what's upkeep of your property, and then there are small increases every year for all four of those units. As soon as one of those tenants moves out, that unit goes right up to market rate again. And so that gives you incentive to keep up the outside of your property. There's an appeal. So and this is how they do it in Beverly Hills too, if you need to fix your roof, you put in an appeal, then you amortize that increase for your tenants over time. It doesn't need to be complicated and it doesn't need to be combative. It really doesn't. And there are property owners that I've spoken to in the community who say they're fine with it and it wouldn't impact them anyway. It doesn't impact single family homes, doesn't impact newer construction, doesn't prevent new construction. It's really does not have to be one side against another.
All right. Well, I look forward to that debate over the next year. Uh, I want to let you go. You've been so generous with your time, but I do want to ask you real quick. This Paseo Nuevo project, which was negotiated, and I realize the negotiations are complicated, and the city administrator is coming on the show on Friday to talk about it with her battalions of consultants. But where are you just kind of basically at the moment? I mean, the planning commission really bashed it and hated the financing, and a lot of people are very unhappy about the way that the affordable housing element has been treated. What's your early take on that?
I have tremendous respect for the Planning Commission and for HLC. And from my perspective, they did their job. They asked the tough questions. They brought up sticky issues. And for me, I'm getting to where I just think this needs to go to a vote of the people. This is public land, and it needs to pencil out for the people, not just pencil out for developers. And the way it's shaping up now, it's a huge project that is luxury housing right in the center of downtown. So I have the question about whether those actually will be primary homes or not, and what that will do to the sort of upward pressure of prices everywhere. Having the affordable units being separate and aside doesn't sit very well with me. Um, demolishing a used and perfectly good and recently retrofit parking structure. The Music Academy is hoping and really chose where they were going to be downtown based on that. And just from a environmental sustainability standpoint, reduce, reuse, recycle, not demolish what's working and good, and put something else up. And we need the housing, but what we need is affordable housing. And I'm very consistent with that. We have enough luxury housing. We have luxury housing that sits empty. We have plenty of luxury housing. What we're really lacking is affordable community housing. And I want to hold out for that. That's what we need.
Now, when you say a vote of the people, do you mean for the whole project or for the, basically giving away the land piece of it?
The transfer of the land. I mean, that land is bought by the people and with taxpayer dollars, and it was very expensive. And the goal was to revitalize downtown and let the mall be there and let the market have that happen and bring people downtown and maybe that's run its course. Probably, definitely big stores like the Macy's or the Nordstrom, but it's community land. And I think that a lot of scrutiny has to go into who benefits from the transfer of that land and is it what we want as a community, not as council members, but as a community. And I think we could put it to the people. Do you want this land to be transferred? Do you want this land to be retained? Do you want this land to have an extended lease, which is, purportedly the reason why nothing can be done there is because the lease terms aren't long enough? Well, we could put it to the people to vote to extend the lease. And I really think something this big and this important belongs to the people.
Yeah, I raised it with the mayor on Friday when he was here, and just threw it out there, as why not? Why wouldn't we vote? And he was adamant that we're going to lose this deal, and then we're going to have no deal, and we're going to be stuck with things the
No.
way they are.
We need to be negotiating from a position of strength, and that is throughout the city. There are quite a few large developments where we appear to be feeling um, up against the wall and as if others are in charge. And I think as representatives of the people, we need to push harder. We need to stand up and negotiate better, and that's a big part of it. We do have options, and they're, you know, it is a delicate negotiation, but we're not exercising all the options we have. And I was really proud of Planning Commission for stating clearly what some of the issues are. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I so appreciate you doing this. Any final word to voters who are thinking early about making their filling out their ballots for a year from now?
Oh, I know it's a long time out. What I'm starting is a listening tour. And I'm starting there, as you said, broad community. I want to hear what are the important issues. I'll be starting with, if anybody in the community wants to have community meeting in your neighborhood, at your home, at your school, wherever you want, I really want to hear what are the issues and how to get us out of the status quo and move us towards the future. So I'm looking forward to this next year. I love meeting with people and hearing new ideas, and I think it's going to be good.
All right. Kristen Sneddon, thank you so much for speaking with us today, and thank you for all you do at City Hall. And
Thank you, Jerry.
I imagine we'll be talking a few times in the year to come. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Bye-bye.